Ladies and gentlemen, good Monday morning. It is February 22nd, 2021. And for those of you who watched it last night was WWE Elimination Chamber. And for those of you who listened to the stream and on YouTube on Conman167, and for those of you who watched it, very good for you. You know exactly what happened last night. For those of you who didn't get to watch it and don't want spoilers, please turn this video off and watch it after the show. For those of you who do not know what happened because you couldn't watch it and won't be able to watch it for quite some time until it becomes available on Peacock in the next couple weeks, or for those of you who just didn't get to watch it but like to listen to the results for when you do get old enough to watch it, here's what happened last night at WWE Elimination Chamber. Now, on the pre-show, it was still up in the air as to whether or not we were going to get the WWE Raw Women's Championship with Asuka. That did get answered later in the night officially, and at the correct moments in between matches, I will let you know what happened. Let's start with the kickoff pre-show, though, for the Elimination Chamber. It was announced seconds before we went on the air that John Morrison, Elias, Ricochet, and Mustafa Ali of Retribution would be in a fatal four-way to determine who would replace Keith Lee in the United States Championship Triple Threat match. Now, my glasses snapped yesterday. Or actually, no, on Saturday. So it wasn't an angry ex-fan or fan, and it certainly wasn't anything else. It snapped while I was bringing in the laundry from the car. So, back to the pre-show match. John Morrison ended up defeating Elias, Ricochet, and Mustafa Ali, who was accompanied by Mace, Slapjack, and T-Bar again. Because of our positive COVID test, there was no reckoning at ringside. And because Keith Lee is still in contact with her at times, I'm guessing Lee requested out of the match to be safe until he gets another negative test for COVID. Anyways, John Morrison will go on to pin Mustafa Ali. The time of the match was 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, that means John Morrison went on to compete in the triple threat match for the U.S. title. And once again, because of the COVID issues and everything, WWE did have Elimination Chamber at the WWE Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is where they'll remain at least through WrestleMania. For the main card, we started out the night with the WWE Universal Championship Challenger Elimination Chamber. Now, this is a match that saw 6 men compete for the right to face Roman Reigns later in the night. At this point, they have gone to air with the main card, and there is still an opening for the Raw Women's Championship to happen, but that could come later in the night. In the match, we saw Daniel Bryan defeat Cesaro, Jey Uso of the Bloodline, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, and Sami Zayn in the Elimination Chamber match to earn a shot at the WWE Universal Championship. That match took 34 minutes and 20 seconds. The order of entry was, the match started with Cesaro drawing number 1 and Daniel Bryan drawing number 2, Third to enter the match was King Corbin. Fourth, Sami Zayn. Fifth, Kevin Owens. And last, Jey Uso. The elimination order, the eliminations started literally after all 6 men got in the cell. So it was a few minutes into the match before we got our first elimination, and that was when Cesaro made King Corbin tap out at 17 minutes and 45 seconds. Next, Kevin Owens pinned Sami Zayn at 25:30. Jey Uso pinned Kevin Owens at 26:50. Jey Uso then pinned Cesaro at 32 minutes 50 seconds into the match. And then at the 34:20 mark, Daniel Bryan pinned Jey Uso. Now remember, that means Daniel Bryan won the right to face Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal title. And Roman Reigns did not take too long to answer as to when the match was going to be. Roman Reigns music hits, Roman Reigns comes out, the match happens right then and there. Roman Reigns of the Bloodline, accompanied by Paul Heyman, defeated Daniel Bryan to retain the WWE Championship at 1 minute 32 seconds. Now Roman Reigns is milking this win way too long in a lot of people's eyes, and that means we all knew what was coming next, and we got that next. Edge came out from nowhere and speared Roman Reigns and then pointed to the WrestleMania sign. Now, a lot of people are saying, has he made his choice for WrestleMania? We got that answer when the pyros started going off. The internet broke the first time in celebration of us getting the Battle of the Spears, Roman versus Edge at WrestleMania for the Universal title. So what does that mean now for the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre and NXT Champion Finn Balor? And will the NXT Championship be defended at WrestleMania this year because of this? We don't have our answer yet on either of those two matches. The next match was the triple threat match for the WWE Universal title, which Bobby Lashley of the Hurt Business, accompanied by MVP, defended against the aforebooked Riddle and Keith Lee's replacement John Morrison, who won the Fatal 4-Way on the kickoff show. Riddle pinned Bobby Lashley after Lashley knocked out Morrison with the Hurt Lock. And then Riddle used the crutch to get the final attack in on Lashley to win the United States Championship. Once again, Riddle is the new WWE United States Champion. That match took 8 minutes, 40 seconds. Where does Riddle go from there? Does he have to deal with Lashley? And something interesting happens with Lashley later in the night, and I won't tell you what it is until I get to that point. Now, it was at this point we were still wondering, and a technical word had come down that Asuka was removed from the show due to the Lacey Evans pregnancy. Now, apparently what happened in real life, from what I understand, is Lacey is indeed pregnant, and it is by her husband. However, WWE and Vince, especially with his machinations, is letting a storyline believe it's Ric Flair's kid. Now, Rick may have said, "I'm the daddy," and partied, but Lacey Evans never denied or agreed that it was Flair's kid. So WWE, are you going to let us wonder and tell us it's Flair's kid or not? Or are you going to tell us that it is Lacey's husband's kid? and make us, those of us outside, the fans, feel like idiots for believing it was Ric Flair's kid because of the way Ric Flair acted. She's 30, he's 71, she's married, he's divorced. Where are you going with this storyline? Now, as I said, it was still unconfirmed about whether Asuka was going to happen or not. It was at this point, it was 100% confirmed Asuka would not be defending the title that night. So, what's going to happen with Asuka? Is she defending it tonight on Raw or not? We'll see soon. Because Raw is tonight. The next match and the final match before the main event. You could call it a co-main event. I know a lot of people who do. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeated Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks to retain the WWE Women's Championship thanks to a timely distraction against Sasha Banks by Reginald. The time of the match was 9 minutes 35 seconds. Now, was Reginald doing what Carmella told him to? Or were they trying to turn Reginald face? We'll soon find out when SmackDown hits the airwaves at 7 Eastern, 7 Central this Friday night. Nia Jax got a clean pin on Sasha Banks, which leads us to believe Nia could be getting the next shot at Sasha's title. But remember, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are currently signed to Raw. So are they going to have them jump ship? Are they going to split them up or what? What is WWE thinking? And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to reveal the results of the main event of the night, the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. Our competitors in the match were Drew McIntyre defending against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, and Sheamus as scheduled, but with a now replacing of The Miz by Kofi Kingston. As you saw on Monday Night Raw this past week, The Miz gave up his spot. He intended for John Morrison to be in the match, but the rule was former WWE champions, which we all know Kofi Kingston was, when Kofi said, wait a minute, former champion, I'm a former champion. John Morrison, think. Correct thing by Kofi Kingston by having Miz versus Kofi. If Kofi won, he was in the match. If Miz won, John Morrison would be in the chamber instead. We all know Kofi won that match. Now, during the match, when we got our first elimination, and it was counting down to the 5th entry, Omos, who accompanied AJ Styles to the ring, ripped apart part of the chamber so AJ could get early entry to make a couple eliminations, and Omos got thrown out of ringside by Adam Pearce for it. Now, obviously, AJ Styles was entering 5th because Kofi and Drew had already entered the match. AJ tried to pick up uncomfortable victories over Sheamus and Drew to reduce his number of opponents. But here's how they entered the match. Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton started the match from number 1 and number 2. Drew McIntyre entered 3rd, followed by Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Sheamus, who won the Gauntlet match last Monday night on Raw. The elimination winners followed. Kofi Kingston pinned Randy Orton. This was when AJ Styles was allowed to enter the match by Omos.
And he went after Sheamus and Drew McIntyre and Jeff Hardy. He went after Drew and Jeff. Drew and Jeff, not and Kofi. Little stumble there. I forgot Sheamus was not in the match yet because he was 6th. And I apologize for that. And once again, you see me looking around. I got a couple of ways I can get more info in live as I'm recording. So please forgive me if I'm looking off to my left or right again. If you heard that cough, sorry about that. Short on oxygen because I'm trying to keep this quick and short. Elimination number 2, Sheamus eliminated Kofi Kingston after pinning him at the 23:35 minute mark. Drew McIntyre pinned Jeff Hardy at 25:15 match time. AJ Styles then pinned Sheamus at 30 minutes 15 seconds. And Drew McIntyre pinned AJ Styles at the 31:10 mark. Yes, Drew McIntyre defeated AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, and Sheamus to retain the WWE Championship. The cage raises, the chamber raises, and what's going on? Here, Bobby Lashley. Lashley attacks Drew McIntyre. Is this why we saw Miz talking to MVP earlier in the night? I wonder. Lashley puts the Hurt Lock on Drew. Drew passes out. Here comes the Miz. Is he cashing in? Yes, the cash in at this point is official, and the bell rings. It took all of 30 seconds for the Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale to pin Drew McIntyre and become the new WWE Champion. That is right, Miz is the new WWE Champion, and for the second time in one night, the internet breaks. This time, after the pay-per-view ends and there's no Fiend, the internet breaks with shock and awe of The Miz being the WWE Champion again. Again. So, what does that mean for Bobby Lashley? Is he going to ask for Miz and Morrison to help get the title back for the U.S. title from Riddle for him? Or is there another plan? Or has Miz officially joined the Hurt Business? Now that last part I highly doubt, because Miz ain't one to take it. Miz is a main event player, and Hurt Business is slightly under the main event at the late card level. I won't say mid-card, granted U.S. titles and mid-card championship, but the Hurt Business is close to that main event status, so they're what's known as the high card. Now they can end the show as the main event, or they can be late in that third hour, or they could even open the third hour. They're not mid-card, so there you go. So, what does that mean for The Miz? Is he going to be at Fastlane and Mania as champion going into Mania? Or are we going to get the Otis gets angry because he took my Miz took his briefcase through Tucker, helping, or is Otis just going to be left on SmackDown without a hey, I could be champion, I could have cashed in, but he took my briefcase and then wait till now to cash it in, because Miz did say Otis was abusing the briefcase by not turning it in for a shot all the way back at Survivor Series. But Miz, you held on to that briefcase until now? How does that make your argument of him misusing the briefcase? WWE, you need to straighten this by giving Otis a shot at Fastlane. Or at least give it to him on a Monday Night Raw. This is Otis, you screwed. WWE, who knows anymore? Anyways, that's going to end this video on the results of last night's WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And until next time, remember, anything can happen in WWE or wrestling in general. Even The Miz winning the WWE Championship again in 2021. I'm Jason Dreamer, and to all you dreamers out there, just keep on dreaming. And I'll see you next time with more wrestling or other Jason Dreamer life content.